So, hello everyone in Maccabee Nation. Joining us today is Haguy Kroizer. Haguy is someone I look up to a great deal. He's the CEO of a great performance marketing company in Tel Aviv called Teddy Marketing. They focus on primarily e-commerce businesses. And he was also a commander in the IDF, where he's doing reserve duty now. And that's where I had the good fortune to meet him. And like many Israelis the past year, he's done a great deal of reserve duty and over 170 days in the last year. And what I didn't know about Haguy until recently was his childhood as at-risk teen. And I saw him recently post about an organization called Yiftach and helped him kind of, get his life on track. And I was intrigued by their mission. And I asked if he could come on and tell us more about it. Thank you so much for joining us, especially from where you are and taking time to do this. Haguy.
It's a pleasure, and thank you for inviting me. It's always good to see you.
Yeah, it's been a while. So
It's
can
been a
you tell
while.
us just a little bit more about yourself and your journey and how did you arrive at Yiftach?
hmm So I grew up in Mitzpeh Yericho, which is a settlement east from Jerusalem. One out of nine. I have eight siblings. So one out of nine kids. Very religious, very orthodox family. And since I was a kid, I was always a little. I'll call it like a little different from my siblings, and I didn't feel like very connected to. I did feel very connected to Judaism, but not like the religious Orthodox way, and it was hard for me to stay within the, I'll call it like the Orthodox system, which is like the high school and then go to yeshiva, and so at some point I didn't want to go to school anymore, and then I ended up going around and wasting my time in the streets of Jerusalem. And I dropped out of school and I was there for about 2 years, I think, between the age of 14 to almost 16. Yeah.
It must have
So this
been
is
scary at times.
uh yes, the I mean, at this age, the street is not a place for kids. I mean, when you're 14 or 15 or 16, even if you don't do bad things, there are many bad people out there who are looking uh, um, for teenagers, and they always look to do like bad stuff. Not just like generally, like people who are on the street. It's a place where you can find only problems. I think at this age, you don't find anything good on the streets when you're like 14 or 15 years old. That's the thing.
And so how did you come to find Yiftach, and can you tell us a little bit more about the organization?
Yeah. So when I was 15 and a half, almost 16, and I just wandered the streets of Jerusalem, I met my cousin just accidentally, and he saw me like just sitting there wasting my time, and he asked me like, "What are you doing?" And I told him like nothing, and he asked me to join him, and I went to his house, and while we were in his house, he basically told me, I'm taking you to school. You choose wherever you want to go. Even if it's not a religious or Orthodox school, I'll take you there. Just tell me where you want to go. But I didn't really know where to go. I was also very young at the time, but I was familiar with a place called Yiftach, which is a boarding school in the Dead Sea, and it's especially they specialize like with kids from I would say like religious backgrounds. And I told him like I want to go there. I didn't really know by that time. I didn't really know that place, but something like from the inside just told like I felt like I need to go there. I don't know why. So I told him like I want to go there, and I stayed at his house. I slept there like during the night, and then in the morning he took a day off from work. He took me there, And from the second, like from the minute I stepped out of the car and I just walked around. I felt like this is the place for me.
And what were the kind of the turning points in your life, or something that you remember that helped shape your experience to want to spend more time in the IDF? And I guess what about the program specifically do you think helped you and helps other kids in similar situations?
Mm-hmm. So when I first got there, and so we went to the principal house, right? And I met him. We sat at his house, and I think like for the first time in like for the first time I felt like someone is really um seeing me and really care for me. And that feeling changed, I think, everything, because the whole staff, everything is just the way they treat the kids who's going there. They give them the feeling like they care for them, and that's what's most I would say like the most important thing. Because if I'm looking back at myself, like I wasn't like a bad kid. I was just like I was in the wrong place in the wrong time. That was the whole thing. So
Mm-hmm.
if you're taking the same kid and you're putting him like in a place where he feels like he belongs, then he or like anyone else, they can do like great things in their life. So
And do
that's
you
that.
still keep in touch with other kids from the program that you met during that time, or?
Yeah, we stayed in touch, and a lot of people from this boarding school, they do like great things. I have people who I also work with, like they were clients, my customers. Some of them they opened companies in the states, some in Israel, and a lot of kids who came out from this boarding school that do like great stuff in the military in life generally, and it's just beautiful to see what like 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, when you take someone and you give them the feeling like people care for them, it can change like their whole life course. So everything changed dramatically. Because for me, when I was 15, I had like many problems with the police. I got arrested several times. I was supposed to go like when I went to court one time, and the judge looked at me and he told me like, well, the next time I see you, I send you to the jail. That's it. I'm done. I get like tired of seeing you here. And he was really serious because I was there for 5 times.
Mm-hmm.
And looking at this like now, it feels like so different, like from like another life, right? Sometimes it's hard for me to believe that this was me, right? Because and everything is because of this place, the way it's changing. And sometimes it's like an arrow when you shoot the arrow, right? And you just make a small change in the direction of the angle where the arrow is pointing, and in the long term and in a longer time frame, there are like major changes that can happen. And this is what I feel about this place.
That's a,
It saved my life. It's not even changed my life. It saved my life because I don't know if I was being like in the same place and maybe going to jail. But
It
and yeah.
sounds like an amazing organization. Can you tell us more about the needs that it has, and how people in our community, either in the Jewish diaspora or in Israel, how can they get involved? How can they be helpful?
Mhm. So the within they have rooms, right? They have like it's like small. It's not. It's something between a room and a house where the kids like where they stay. But the houses, they are super old. They're like 40 or 50 years old. They were all when I was there, like
Mm-hmm.
17 years ago, and now they want to rebuild the place because the kids who stay there, it's their home, it's their house. Usually, a lot of them they don't go back home. Sometimes they don't go back home at all, and sometimes they just go to visit. But this is their home and this is their place, So they want to rebuild the whole place. And second, there's not enough room. So there's like a big waiting list of kids who are currently on the street, don't have a place to go, but they can go there because they don't have the capacity to hold them. So they're starting this project to rebuild this place, but they get some part of the money from the government, some part of the money from I would say like educational system. Uh, from the educational ministry,
Like
but
grants.
yeah, but they need to collect the initial amount, and this is their project now. It's just to collect the initial amount that will allow them to get uh, uh, to get start with this project. That's the idea now.
Awesome.
Hmm.
And you've sacrificed so much this past year in general. You've always been such a passionate, optimistic person. It shows through in your writing and in my experiences with you. For a lot of people, it's been a hard time this past year. Especially for Israelis, Jews all over the world. What do you have any advice for listeners who might be having a hard time staying positive? Um, you're kind of like a beacon of light in the world, even with what you're doing now, making time to do this to help others. How do you keep that kind of flame of positivity burning? What would you say to people who might be having a tough time?
Hmm. Um, so even now, while we're talking, I'm actually calling you from like inside the Gaza Strip. So I'm in a base just in the middle of I won't tell exactly where, but just like in the middle of Gaza Street. And I think what I've learned, like I think in life, is that whatever you like, you are physically and mentally where your thoughts are. So if you keep telling yourself that you are the victim and everything is out of your control and there's nothing to do, then you'll act like a victim and you act like there's nothing to do and you'll basically do nothing. But if you take, I'll say, like ownership, and you understand that there's a lot of things that are out of your control, but what is within your control is the way you respond, then you get like your whole back and grasp back on life. So, for example, I can't uh, take time back and then change whatever happens on 7th of October, right? Out of my hand, and I it's not my decision if this war will stop, or what will happen, but it's my decision how to react and how to respond. And there are many things that we can do and take care of and take control of our personal life, our community, our nation, our country, our homeland. A lot of things that we can do. So, for example, I can choose to go to join back like to reserve to go to the military. I can go back to work. I can take care of my family. I can. So, for example, I really like to do a lot of. I really like to do sports, right? I like to go to the gym 4 or 5 times a week. Here, it's really hard to go to the gym, but I ask myself, okay, what can I do now? I understand now. It's impossible to go to the gym here, right? It's out of my hand. It's out of my control. But what can I do? So maybe I can take some. I don't know, like water tanks. We have like a very big water tanks. I can just do some kind of exercise, some kind of training with the water tanks, right? So it's not going to the gym. I don't like wearing like when I wear sports clothes, but at least it's something. And when you do, so the idea is when you do something, even if it's a small thing, it's about the attitude, not
Yeah.
about the act itself. It changed the way you see things because you're going from passive, right? Like I can go to the gym, so I don't do nothing, like to being positive, to do things like I can do something, even if it's a small thing. And when you always look, what can I do, and what can I change, and how can I can take back control of the things that I do have control on, it's just change your entire mentality, and then you just so I believe it will keep me. It kept me like I would say like mentally safe during this time because it was a hard time, and It's not simple. My first child was born like 10 months ago, exactly in the middle of the war, and I got to spend with him just 2 months, and then I went back to the middle to the war, and then back home, and then so
Yeah.
it wasn't easy, but
Mindset.
everything is a mindset. Yeah.
Yeah, I really appreciate you sharing that. And thank you so much for taking the time to do this. I'm going to put a link for Yiftach in the comments for our listeners. And I really strongly encourage people to donate generously. The link is in Hebrew, but you can translate it. And we're also going to make a donation on behalf of our paid subscribers. And I really feel very fortunate that I got an opportunity to meet you and that we're still in touch. And thank you again for taking the time.
Thank you so much for hosting me, and it's always very nice to see you, and it's always a blessing to have the opportunity to talk to people and people who care about Israel. And seriously, there's like this sentence Am Yisrael Chai, which is I really believe in. It's like we're here to stay, and we do whatever it takes.
I'm
Yeah,
Israel.
always.
Thank you.
Am Yisrael Chai. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
You too.